61 Weather Watch on the hour.
Good to have you along. I'm Meteorologist Matt Scott. We've got flood watches in effect. West of I-91 could see significant amounts of rain as tropical moisture continues to move up from south to north. Some areas potentially a half a foot. Here's what you need to know before you go. This continues into tonight. Plan accordingly if you're heading out, and it ends tomorrow morning, midday, leading to sunshine on Sunday. More at 5 and 6.
This is my baby, John. And I'm
Fox 61, Connecticut's news station. This is a Weather Watch alert.
Good to have you along. I'm Meteorologist Matt Scott, continuing to watch what has been just a relentless amount of rain that continues to fall through the state. Now, depending on where you are, this is either not a big deal or you've been under the gun with tremendous rain amounts for the last few hours. That's mainly on the west side of the state. Here's what you can expect. Heavy rain, mainly farther to the west, although across the evening, some of that will push eastward, and that leads to training. That leads to the potential of flooding of 3 different kinds. There's a flood watch in effect. That's for the western counties. Coastal flood advisories are in effect. That's for high tide. And flash flooding is certainly a problem. That's what we're seeing right now. The rain tapers off slowly tomorrow morning, but the dreariness continues. Let's get you up to date now with the flash flood warning that does continue till 1:30 in the afternoon. That is mainly for Fairfield County. It extends to about Bridgeport to Stratford and farther north up Route 7 to about Ridgefield. So that means Wilton's involved. Bethel's just on the cusp. Meanwhile, in Monroe, up through I-84 near Sandy Hook in Newtown, we've got a flood advisory for the Housatonic River. That goes until 2:15. Looking at the rising waters about a foot above normal. And a flood watch again continues till 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. It would not surprise me at all if these flood warnings get extended, if flood advisories for rivers continue throughout the state, and that will go into tonight. Here is the current review of the radar, and it has been the same story since we went on the air at 4 a.m. A tremendous amount of rainfall across much of I-84 over into Waterbury, down through Danbury, and then as you see the loop in motion, we're talking about the potential of some very heavy rain, mainly through northern parts of Litchfield County, along 44 from Canaan to Norfolk, back over to Salisbury, Kent, Warren, just on the edge, Torrington as well. Notice the loop. The review shows that over the last couple hours, it just continues to move through the same areas. That's what we call training. And where there's training, there's usually flooding. There have been some really heavy rains across just north of the border, outside of Stamford, Greenwich into Pound Ridge, New York. Tremendous rainfall rates, and that continues. So, bigger picture, we've got just kind of like these train tracks set up. And as that train track continues to just go right through the state, look at all the tropical moisture continuing to move in. Eventually, this will push off to the east. And if you're watching us on, say, the eastern half of the state, east of 91, you're thinking, well, I haven't seen too much. Well, there's still more in the cards for you. These are rainfall totals just over the last few hours, and tremendous amounts from Danbury up Route 7. These numbers indicative of over 1 to 2 inches of rain. Some areas isolated 3 already, especially down in New York, which is just getting battered. So let's put the guidance in motion. And again, you're going to see primarily the western counties, Litchfield, Fairfield, and in parts of New Haven and Hartford counties as well, continue to get dumped on. These are steady, moderate rain showers. They're not heavy rainers, but they're steady and they're not letting up. Meanwhile, on the eastern side of the state, continues to be some scattered showers, occasionally some downpours. As we go into the evening, you see the activity picks up a little bit on the eastern side of the state as those train tracks, that trough, starts to move a little bit. Keep that in mind if you're headed out to the football games tonight. Thunderstorms, lightning is what we'll call the game in your neck of the woods. I don't see much of that. We have seen it, but I don't see much of it. By tomorrow morning, still dealing with a little rain. Here's 11 o'clock. Still going strong in some parts of eastern Connecticut. So we're not seeing this really wind down till tomorrow afternoon. When all is said and done, a few inches of rain easily for Litchfield, Fairfield County. Some isolated areas may set up to get a half a foot. So here's what you need to know before we go. Moderate to heavy rains at time. The flood risk is mainly off to the west. Again, a flash flood warning to 1:30 for parts of Fairfield County. The rain continues tonight, so plan accordingly if you're making plans. A lot of events have been closed. Southington Apple Harvest Festival, for example, has closed for today. It will open tomorrow at noon. By Saturday, tomorrow, later, the rain will end. It will remain cloudy. Here's the good news. The 7-day forecast has a load of sunshine and really warm temperatures. Just got to get to Sunday. In the meanwhile, download the FOX61 News app on your phone. If you are traveling, give yourself lots of space between cars. There's been a lot of accidents this morning of hydroplaning, puddles on the road. And remember, if you see water and you're not sure, of course, turn around, don't drown. We'll have another update coming up at 1 o'clock. In the meantime, let's go back to regularly scheduled programming. I'm meteorologist Matt Scott.